Shubor nakaslem jong unongsan Hima.
Ka Director jong katanat yelek kai sports ke Sarkar Jylla ke Kong Isa Wanda lalu kala penpa bagajing bemi bha u Phlang ha Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium kala Pynlong bandu no ya kalat ban Pynlong ya ke Durand Cup ha gani ke nongba ya gani ke lempung yelek kai ke barim bha ha po kari latmu ban Pynlong ha ki south li ki Jaka bat ke Shlong kala long ka wei ni kita ki Jaka ban yo Pynlong ya ki katu kat ni ki jing yelek kai Henry ka daw ke jing bamla ban pendep ya ke JN Stadium kala Pynlong bandu no ya gani ke kabuk siar hagasin ka beningkong ka Kong Isa Wanda kala penparu da ka baong ka bakong san ka de gamaran yelek kai namar u Phlang shim lala ban mi ha kapor ka babiang kala ya thu bala thung ya utai Phlang nado bana ya yong arajar arpulai Henry ka jingshit kar angka sngi bat ka jingjor uslap ho bana jemang Uneu Phlang shim lala ban mi bha kumbala khmi lenti ti kumta na kalyang ka sarkar kala khmi lenti ban pendep no ya ka jing maramot ya ka te stadium khnang ban la ban Pynlong ya ka te lempung house nam 8000 arpusau
Host the Durand Cup this year as stated on the initiative of the Indian Army. We were also very hopeful, in fact, and after numerous rounds of consultation, ground inspections, the major concern as it turned out was the field of play, because the grass was not growing at the rate expected despite all the efforts which were taken from our side. We understand, as Major General has stated, that the ground conditions need to be in an excellent condition. Although we had seeded the grass early in the month of April, however, unexpectedly we had an intense spell of drought in the month of April, followed by very heavy rains in the month of May. Therefore, it did not grow as the rate as expected. So taking all these things into consideration, we took a joint decision that we would work on this a little more, and we are very, very optimistic that by next year we would be in a better position, a far better position to host the Durand Cup, and all efforts in that regard, as has been announced just now, are already afoot, and we are working very hard to ensure that there will be a brilliant tournament next year. Thank you.
Looking at the walk
was definitely one of our preferred destinations, and we put in a lot of effort along with the government and with full support from the government of Meghalaya to bring up the infrastructure. As you are aware, the Durand Cup is now one of the qualifying tournaments for the Asian Federation Cup, and all 12 Indian Super League teams, which are the top 12 club teams in the country, they participate in the Durand Cup. So the infrastructure and the technical requirements that are there are actually of international standards, right? So we worked hard to try and bring up the infrastructure and the facilities up to that standard. But right at the fag end, because of the vagaries of weather, which is beyond everybody's control, despite the joint best efforts, the ground condition could not measure up because of the heavy rains that came in. And the natural surface grass that was to take root could not fully stabilize. It's not just one-off match, it has to sustain the entire 10 to 11 matches. And played at that high intensity, high competitiveness, there is bound to be attrition. So one is the infrastructure part, but the more important part is protecting the fitness of our players. They can suffer injuries, and a lot of hamstrings and other such tears can happen if the surface is not conducive to even sport. So that was the only consideration, and we are quite optimistic and hopeful, and we shall work hard to make sure that 2024 Shillong is one of the venues.
Now we are focusing on this one venue because Shillong will be one of the host cities. There will be other host cities as well, I believe, and only a fixed number of matches will be held here. So we are focusing on JN Stadium, but as stated, infrastructure development in other places within Meghalaya is also underway, not only for the Durand Cup but for other events in the near future which we hope to host.